I'll call the March 3rd, 2014 City Council meeting to order and ask those who would like to join myself and the council in the Pledge of Allegiance to please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Begin this evening with a proclamation. Whereas March the 3rd, 2014 marks the 102nd anniversary of Girl Scouts of the United States of America, and the Girl Scout Cookie Program is the largest girl-led business in the country, which prepares girls for the future by developing 5 business building skills of goal setting, decision making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. And whereas for over 100 years, Girl Scouting has helped build millions of girls and women of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place, and further advances research, policy, and programmatic expertise on girls' behalf. And whereas today Girl Scouts in Washington State reaches a diverse and plural constituency of 34,000 girls and ensures access to all regardless of their financial circumstances, and a dedicated network of thousands of volunteers who share their diverse backgrounds, abilities, and areas of expertise to support our girls across the state. Now, therefore, I, Fred Butler, Mayor of the City of Issaquah, do hereby applaud the Girl Scouts of the United States of America for their more than 100 years of leadership and expertise as the voice for and of girls, and Girl Scouts of Western Washington for providing the local support for Girl Scouting in our community, and the Girl Scouts of our city for their courage, confidence, and character to act to make our world a better place in the City of Issaquah, and encourage all people to join me in supporting the Girl Scouts and further to recognize the outstanding contribution of Girl Scouts of the United States of America towards helping today's girls become tomorrow's leaders. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and seal of the city of Issaquah this 3rd day of March 2014. And I'm delighted to see Sydney here again this year and welcome you as a Girl Scout to the council. And what do you have there, Sydney? Well, this is great, Sydney, and this is not the first time that you've done this. This is wonderful that you keep coming back year after year. We appreciate what you do and are delighted that you're a part of our community.
Yeah.
So would you like to say something?
Thanks.
There. Okay. And Sydney, this is for you. And again, thank you. The city council members appreciate and will share these cookies with you, and good luck again this year. If that's in there, I'm going to take these notes here, and the pretty one is inside, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on our agenda is audience comments. I'll provide a few remarks and guidelines for public participation. When recognized, please come to the podium and use the mic. State your name, address, and your relationship to city. The city, for example, a resident, property owner, business owner, or whatever. And please limit your comments to 5 minutes. I would like to acknowledge that citizen comments are an important part of the public process. We take them seriously and factor them into the decisions that we make as a council. Please remember to address your comments to the full city council and not to individual members. Personal attacks, obscene language, derogatory remarks, and disruptive behavior will not be permitted. If I determine a speaker is out of order, I will ask for concluding comments and direct the speaker to return to his or her seat. If the speaker does not comply, I will ask them to leave the council chambers. Again, I'd like to reiterate that citizen comments, written and verbal, are an important aspect of the public process. And with that, I would ask, has anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, I have several. Alex Zimmerman, followed by Chris Jensen.
Oh, where is watch?
The microphone is to your left, Mr. Zimmerman.
No, what is the timer? You have
You
time?
have 4 minutes. You have just under 5 minutes?
No, but you don't have timer?
I don't. I will let you know when you're at 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
And
Thank
when
you very
it's
much. I
30.
very appreciate it. My name is Alex Zimmerman, and I represent Stand Up America. And when I come to Issaquah, I live in Bellevue more than 25 years. Yeah, guys, what is Stand Up America doing for the last 5 years with 500 speeches everywhere, King Country, Seattle, Bellevue, another dozen cities in King Country? We start restore American Constitution, freedom of speech, and common sense. This is exactly what I come to you, because right now we don't have Constitution, we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have common sense. For this we fallen and fallen. And right now, button, nobody see button. How we can change this? This is exactly what is we start doing right now. You point what is we doing? We go to council chambers every day, sometimes 2-3 times per day. King Country, Seattle, Bellevue, everywhere. Right now I come to you for one particular reason. Because one member from you, a mayor, Fred Butler, know me for a few years. He belonged to many committee. He hear me, and right now we are about sound transit. So situation what is we have right now, and exactly what is I want to speak with you, because member of your committee, of your council, member of your council is belong to King Country group, you know what it means, to King Country Commissioner, to King Country Council, and group what is present many people. So situation very simple right now. King Country Council for last 40 years don't give chance speak to nobody, theoretically. Yes, but practically it exists only one time, sometimes per week, or sometimes one time per month. King Country Council have approximately 300 council meeting per year. Is this council meeting close to people? So one from you present in King Country Council always, and Tim Butler right now present like a mayor in Sound Transist. So Don Constantine don't give a chance speak, never. Yes, cut first meeting last week when he's a boss, totally cut last month, couple days ago, cut from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. It's against Sound Transist rule and regulation. Point what is I come to you in talking to you is very simple. Is this exactly what as we speak to many city council, to different city council. King Country Council are acting right now like organized criminal, like a mafia. Because when you don't give chance speak about $9 billion, what is involved in this operation, by definition, it's not only absurd, it's a crime. Because every council supposed to be listened to every people. In council, is only us employee. We choose you, you know what it means, for represent us. So when somebody from you, for example, go, he never support us, like Stand Up America or another people chance speak in every King Country Council meeting, you know what it means. He's theoretically a criminal because he broke Constitution, broke freedom of speech, and common sense. But common sense is a very dangerous point. This is exactly what is we need doing. So, I come to you same like I talked before to many people, Stand Up America, not only me, I know us group. We're talking about everything. We ask you very simple point. Come close to this situation what is we have right now in King Country Council. Because when King Country Council don't give a chance speak, it's a pure monopoly, it's a pure mafia concentration, almost under democratic roof, you know what it means? Theoretically we have right now in King Country one-party system. It's like a similar to what has happened in German Nazi before, in Soviet Union communist. We cannot handle this. So we come to council and ask. We can find one honest.
Remaining.
How many?
1 minute.
Thank you very much. So we come right now to every council in asking, can we find one honest council in all King Country, in many city, who stand up and write very simple message to King Country Council and ask, guys, give a chance speak to every council meeting like every city have. Because we operate with $9 billion. Every council meeting in King Country is $100 million. We cannot speak about this, is ignore us. When you don't talk to your wife, for example, about money, she will probably take you out from house. You understand what this means? Why we cannot write doing this? Guys, I come proposition to you, very simple, Stand Up America come with very simple proposition. Write a letter. Come deeper to this problem. Represent your 30,000 people. Everybody have chance speak in every council meeting in King Country, like we doing this in all city without exception. Stand Up America. Start something doing, guys. When you don't doing this, who will be doing? You know what I mean? It's a point. We can. Government cannot use us like a cow, you know what it means? It's time for changes, for fundamental changes. We need to bring America back. It's exactly what is we need doing. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Chris Jensen.
Next, please.
Good evening. Christopher Jensen, resident 24317 Southeast 41st Lane, Klahani. So I emailed an open letter to the council this weekend, but rather than reading it verbatim, I wanted to briefly touch upon the issue that's haunted everyone in Klahani and Issaquah at large for far too long, releasing our PAA. I've been following this issue now for about a decade and a half, and I think we're all extremely tired, fatigued, and believe this is the final vote required to move on. I speak for dozens and dozens of neighbors, friends, colleagues, and others that live in Klahani, and have long since believed that Sammamish next door was the obvious choice since shortly after they incorporated and the MOU was signed between these two cities. And since the early 2000s, it seems like this reality was just over the horizon, but various vocal minorities kept blowing against the political sails and keeping us moored in this harbor of stagnation that we sit in today. Well, as of last week, it seems that now we have a clear majority that have certified that they believe there's a better choice and just want the ability to try and proceed. Yes, it was close, but these days it seems almost every election is close. But it was far enough apart that any automatic recounting rules it was beyond. As such, the state seems it's far enough apart to consider it a win for those voting against annexation. Recent political quotes seem to imply some sort of gerrymandering or further slicing up of districts that I can only hope are just rumor at this point, as at this point this would only exacerbate the animosity that seems to have been growing toward Issaquah ever since the issues surrounding the water district, accusations of cyber squatting, etc., let alone making a bad situation even worse as far as efficiency of providing services to Klahani. Releasing the PAA would go a long way to repairing the voters' state of mind at this point. Beyond that, I've lost count of how many times I've heard from nearly every council member state they'd abide by the will of the people in this election, be it at the recent annexation open house or even the mayor's own campaigning. I think now it's time to act and prove that these weren't just empty promises. We're at a crossroads, a place where Issaquah can take the high road and engender strengthening the friendship that exists, I think, between all the cities around us, or create a political quagmire that I shudder to think about going into further. I hope for the former. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Brian Garvey.
Thank you very much. You caught me writing a note to what I was going to say. So, Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Brian Garvey. I reside at 3723 245th Avenue Southeast. That's an Issaquah address, but it's in the heart of Klahani. For 25 years we've lived there. I'm here tonight to request that the council release Klahani from the PAA. Twice now we have rejected an annexation proposal, so please release us so we can get on with annexation to Sammamish. I love the city of Issaquah. I let my daughter marry somebody from Issaquah. But we are primarily a residential community. We have a different development philosophy than the city of Issaquah does. I'm not saying anything bad about your approach to development at all. But Klahani residents, given the choice, we do not support the annexation. So again, I request you please take the necessary steps to allow us to annex with the city of Sammamish. And I just conclude with saying thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and ask you, what are your plans in terms of the outcome of the vote? That was a question. If you don't have an answer for now, I will...
This is, Mr. Garvey, this is not a question and answer session. It's an opportunity for people to participate and provide their thoughts. And as I said in my remarks, we take seriously what we hear during audience comments.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. So,
great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Michelle Drovedal.
Hello, I'm Michelle Drovedal. I'm the Library Cluster Manager for the Issaquah Library, and I'm here to brag about the Issaquah Library. I have numbers for the year, last year, from January to December. We had 6,336 kids in our story time. We had 2,756 kids in our children's programs separate from the story time. We had 1,210 people at our adult programs, and we had 236 people attend our citizenship class. We're very proud of that. And then we also have a connection with the Chinese, a Chinese group who are helping Chinese people become part of America, being citizens and helping with them. And we also have a Chinese play and learn, where children learn Chinese and English, and under fun times and stuff. And we had 778 kids participate in that. So we're very proud of that. And we also had, oh, my numbers, 812,497 items checked out of the Issaquah Library last year. It's down a little because e-readers have exploded, and we don't have a way to say how many e-readers were checked out by Issaquah citizens. But the King County Library System has more e-reader checkout than any other library system in the United States, and therefore we think the world. We're very proud of that. And our traffic count is how many people enter the Issaquah Library over the year was 310,395. So you can see we're a very busy library. And of course, this doesn't count the Issaquah citizens who just use us online. Come to our website. It's a wonderful place. And then, of course, some of the things you might see on our website is a book that you might want to check out. Images of America, Issaquah. Lovely book. There's a whole series on all of King County, and then, or all of King County's cities. And then another one that just came in, it's called Fire Rock, the story of Issaquah's coal mining history. You might want to check that one out. This is by Linda Adair Helm, H-J-E-L-M. I'm very proud that we have these local stuff. And then if you really like history, I'm sorry, I'm a librarian. I'm paranoid. I love bragging about books. If you like history, you're going to like James Michener, The Source, where it starts with a tell right outside of Jerusalem, and they dig down, and every time they find something, they tell you about the person who used it. And the first thing they pull up is a bullet from the 1954 war, and they tell you about the man who shot that gun and dropped that bullet casing. Please come to the library. I'm very proud of this building. It's a beautiful building. We have a wonderful staff, and we have tons and tons of stuff for you to check out and read. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Foss?
Hi, my name is Mike Foss. I am a member of the Klahani PAA. I live in Brookshire Estates, 23826 Southeast 47th Place in Issaquah, Washington. I'm here, and I'll make it brief, I'm here to kind of make a statement about our desire in our precincts to stay and become part of Issaquah. The vote did fail. It didn't hit the number that it needed to get in the annexation process. However, there were 3 precincts. Brookshire, of which I'm part of, was 77.6% yes. Ranch was 65% yes. Klahani precinct was 60.8% yes. There were 2 other precincts that are not exactly connected to the 3 in the south end that were over 50%. I want to thank the council for all the work that you've done over the last, 10 years now, trying to bring us into your city. I resent some of the effects of the anti-campaign that have bloodied and muddied the waters, but that happens when it comes to elections. You folks have spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a major effort, and a true commitment to trying to annex the PAA. One option that has been thrown out is the idea of carving out a portion of the PAA that might definitely want to become part of Issaquah. These 3 precincts are connected to the south end, or the north end of Klahani, I should say. We're in the south end. We're very, very close to the Highlands. I think it's like a half a mile or less. It is going to require less services than it would require to have the whole PAA, and less expense. And I think it would be a very good move because the people in those precincts want to be part of Issaquah, not Sammamish. It has been done before. If you take a look, the city of Issaquah is considered a annexation city, and there are, if you look at the map over the years of annexations, small portions have been brought in. The last time we had a vote in 2005, the PAA of Klahani did not vote for it. South Cove did. You brought South Cove in. So I am sitting here as a resident saying, please consider that option. We want our taxes to go to Issaquah, and we want to continue to be part of Issaquah. And I thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.
Butch, and I believe it's Devon, or?
Yeah, Butch Devon.
My name is Butch Devon, and I live at 23839 Southeast 47th Place, Issaquah. And I would just like to express my thanks to the support that the people in the Klahani PAA receive from the city of Issaquah. I live in that area, and I would like to become a citizen of Issaquah. And I think that I can't say I like the way the vote turned out, but I still think that there's a lot of people in our area that are very much interested in becoming part of Issaquah. The vote was very close, but you have to consider one thing. The vote was not Issaquah versus Sammamish, which people want you to think. There was a great number of people that were maybe interested in still being part of, not being part of Issaquah, but staying in King County. So to assume that it was Issaquah, Sammamish, and Sammamish won is not the correct way you should look at this election. It was Issaquah versus people that wanted to remain in King County. If you remove the people that wanted to stay exclusively in King County, Sammamish may have not even had the majority as they claim. So I want you to think about that when you consider the vote, and I would like to say that there are a lot of people that really do want to become part of Issaquah, including myself. And I thank you very much for giving me this time to talk here.
Thank you.
Dick LaRue?
Good evening, folks. Mr. Mayor, City Council members, my name's Dick LaRue. I live in the Klahani proposed annexation area, 4652 238th Way Southeast. I'm the president of the Berkshire Estates Homeowners Association, and I strongly support and always have supported our annexation to the city of Issaquah. Tonight, I'd like to say a special thank you to each and every one of you for, number one, funding and conducting the Nesbitt study, which again said that annexation to the city of Issaquah would be good for the PAA residents, and it would be good for Issaquah as well. I'd like to thank you for forming the Citizens Advisory Group. That was a good heads-up, high-road way to look at the study as it was being developed. And then finally, I'd like to thank you for having facilitated and let the vote for annexation come to pass. Now let's go to the vote. We've talked about essentially a 50-50 situation. And in a level playing field vote, no problem. I think that would have been quite an indicator to you of ambivalence. But in the atmosphere of the extremely well-funded and very professionally conducted, and I give them credit for this, negative campaign, which was clearly intended to muddy the water and confuse the voter, which I believe it did, a 50-50 split is a different number. It, to me, is a very strong indication of a very strong desire for the PAA to become part of the city of Issaquah. Now, finally, I'm going to read. Those of us, and there are many of us, who support annexation to our city of Issaquah, we will rely on your judgment, your wisdom, and especially your courage to review the voting, review the data, and that you will take a course of action that will recognize the best interest of not only the city we love and want so much to become part of, but it will recognize the best interest of the people in the PAA as well, and especially those people who have clearly indicated a strong desire to become part of your city. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Kirk Utinger. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Close.
Okay.
Sorry, man. My name is Kirk Utzinger. I'm CEO for Habitat for Humanity, Seattle-King County, and I'm here to say thank you. Thank you for your investment in the Sammamish project that we will be breaking ground on later in the 2014 year. Sounds like you've got a lot of interesting things going on here right now, and hopefully this is a happy note that what we're bringing forth to you here. But we thank Arch and Arthur for his team coordinating the efforts for this $2.5 million project. We have 10 families that will be becoming homeowners for the first time in 1,000 to 1,500 square foot homes. A total of about 10 homes will be built. There'll be 2, 3, and 4 bedroom cottage style homes. The groundbreaking we hope will be this summer, and of course we'll be inviting you to attend that. And then we should begin construction in 2015 with this project being completed in the Sammamish area, just a couple blocks down from the city building there in 2017. But I just want to make sure that you know that Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build, homes, community, and hope. So it's about all of us and what we're trying to do. And the investment that you're making here will be critical to getting the well-rounded support that we work with faith groups, we work with the schools, we work with the community leaders like yourselves, and then we work for private investment. So we'll be raising about $2 million from other sources outside of the seed money that has been provided by the various cities for the infrastructure. And I want to make sure that it's clear that the Habitat model, about 90% of this project will be conducted through volunteer efforts. So many of you folks here who might have some extra tension or some frustration, why don't you get together some folks and come out and volunteer for a while and come build homes with families that need them most. Just very quickly, the homeowners, just so you understand the type of folks that we're working with, they're about half of the average medium income of the individuals in this marketplace. But they are the folks that provide the services to you and me, to our children, each and every day. These are the folks that are driving the ambulances, the buses. These are the folks that are in the drugstores, that are in the restaurants serving us. These are real people that now will have an opportunity to live in that community close to where they work and to provide for their children's and to begin building wealth for a legacy. And it's a hand up and not a handout. These folks buy these mortgages that we will be selling to them. They pay their mortgages like everybody else. But what's really cool is they help build their own homes with over 500 hours of sweat equity. And they work and partner with us. So thank you all so much for what you've done, Mayor, Council. As a new family in this area, we moved there from Pittsburgh about a year and a half ago. And I got to tell you that it's a really great area that we live in, and we're grateful to be a part of your communities as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Julie Pye?
My name is Julie Bai. Address is 23829 Southeast 33rd Street. Address Issaquah, Washington 98029. My name is Julie Bai, and my husband and I have lived in the Plateau area for over 12 years. On paper, we're part of PAA's North Triangle and surrounded, however, geographically by the city of Sammamish. We and many of our neighbors do not feel we are part of Issaquah or even Klahani, as we identify more with Sammamish and prefer to be a part of the city of Sammamish. We shop and do businesses up on the plateau. We visit the parks, libraries, and have friends on the plateau. We belong to the Sammamish Garden Club, the hiking club, and even walk our dogs in the Sammamish dog parks. We volunteer also in Sammamish. In short, our lifestyles and preferences are Sammamish and not Issaquah. As a paper resident of the Klahani PAA, I believe I represent the feelings of most of the residents in saying that enough is enough. Issaquah, free us from your PAA. We do not really belong in Issaquah. Given the current circumstance, the PAA as defined does not make sense. It does not reflect the reality. You promised in year 2002 to transfer the PAA to Sammamish, and you didn't do that. You rejected us in 2005, and now you tried again without success. Clearly, the majority of us are willing to take our chances that Sammamish wants us and that we want Sammamish. Sammamish promised to do whatever they can to fast-track annexation into their city, but we need Issaquah to release us from the PAA. It is not right to hold us hostage when we do not really belong or want to be a part of Issaquah. We deserve a choice. Now we have a choice, and we have spoken. All along, it was clear that being a part of Sammamish makes more sense than being part of Issaquah, because Sammamish can give us better service delivery, be it roads or police or trail, connection, or simply lifestyle desires. In his campaign for mayor last October, Fred Butler said, I would support removing Klahani from your PAA if Klahani citizens vote not to be annexed to Issaquah. That is as clear as it can get. He says, remove Klahani, not gerrymander the borders between the two cities. His recent comments about taking a look at the distribution of votes implies a possibility of splitting up the PAA. The MOA that the two cities signed in 2002 states that Issaquah would transfer the entire PAA or perhaps all of the area north of Southeast 48th Street extended to the east. So Issaquah Council and Mayor, don't equivocate. Get on with it and get together with Sammamish and release the PAA from your jurisdiction as soon as possible or as fast as possible.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last on my list, Paul Marks.
Hello, I am Paul Marks. My address is 3318 239th Avenue Southeast. I'm in the Klahani PAA. I don't have anything prepared, and I can't speak as eloquently as some of my predecessors have. But I just want to talk a little bit about my experience with the whole situation. We moved here just a little bit more than 2 years ago, and with the intention to be residents of Issaquah. We were searching for an Issaquah address, found an Issaquah address. We're very happy to and identify ourselves as Issaquah residents. And it came with a little bit of a surprise to us as to some of our other new neighbors that we actually weren't technically part of Klahani, and this whole PAA issue came to the fore, and we became a little bit more educated about it. And we became very excited. I'm speaking on behalf of my wife and a few of our neighbors that we know in Klahani. And excited to become part of Issaquah proper. And we are excited that the vote was coming up, and we're disappointed that it was postponed a little bit. And we're very disturbed and frustrated and a little bit upset and disappointed about some of the negative campaigning we heard from the Sammamish side and some of the threats and all the bad blood that was going back and forth.
But after we learned a little bit more about the issue and started hearing the information from the Sammamish side and talking to some other neighbors and residents of Sammamish, we really came around and feel pretty strongly that we do just more belong in Sammamish than in Klahani. And we would have been happy to really be a part of either city, and I think a lot of people do. And that's why the one thing I want to take issue with some of the previous speakers' suggestion that the 50-50 vote represents really more of a vote for Issaquah than Sammamish. You can't really say that. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the yes vote is, I want to be a part of a city, any city, and I'll take Issaquah, but I could also take Sammamish. And obviously we can't know, given the way the votes are tallied, really which way, one way or the other, those votes would break out. And so I think you should just, to be fair, you cannot really say one way or the other. Anyway, so I would like to say we have had 2 votes on this issue over 10 years. The people have spoken twice, as close as it was. And so I think it's about time to release the PAA, us from the PAA, as you have said that you would, and let us move forward, because I think everyone knows that if we were to vote, if we were to get a vote to join Sammamish, I don't think anyone here believes anything other than that we would join them. The way that the votes, there's going to be a King County vote, but at this point the pro-Issaquah vote is most likely going to convert to a pro-Sammamish vote, being that they're on the, I just want to lower my taxes and be a part of any city. Anyway, that's about all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There are no others on the list.
Sorry, go ahead. You're already up.
Good evening. David Kapler, 255 Southeast Andrews Street. And you might guess I'm going to talk about Klahani. I've been opposed to the annexation of Klahani for over 22 years. And, you know, my main issue was it didn't seem logical or an efficient way part of our city. And that continues to be it. Now we call it sustainability. But it was logical, efficient boundaries, and it gets back, that's just sustainability issues. As I got into it more, my second big issue, which really got me interested, was Beaver Lake Middle School and the impossibility of Issaquah being able to get to that school in a timely manner if there was an emergency, being that the access is from the Beaver Lake Road, not even through Klahani. The boundaries that you would use if you just looked at precincts don't make sense. You're not going to want to use the middle of a street, a residential street, as a boundary between 2 cities. You don't want to split, you don't want to take any part of the Homeowners Association of Klahani and put the Homeowners Association in 2 cities. There's a lot of things. 48th, the extension of 48th, or a close proximity, is the logical one. The city already has in its TIP over $7.5 million allocated for just the short section of Issaquah Pine Lake Road between 48th and the intersection of the Issaquah Falls City Road and the Pine Lake Road. So we're already on the hook for $7.5 million just to 48th. If the city wants to go north of 48th, you've got to figure out how much more road you're going to pick up. And because it's a triangle, as you go north, yeah, it gets a little wider and you pick up a little more assessed valuation, but you pick up a lot of expensive road as you go north of 48th. For 20-some years now, the tax dollars in Klahani have been going to the county, but not necessarily invested in the Klahani area or helping our greater community, and that will continue. Also, the amount of money, then time and effort Issaquah is spending on this annexation is getting pretty ridiculous. We got much bigger things to deal with. The water wars seem to be, there's peace treaty for 10 years, 7-year peace treaty on the fire wars. Let's get this Klahani thing off the table, get on to the much bigger issues the city of Issaquah is facing. I'm still following up on the PDC issue, and I've been getting some pretty negative things said about that. I'm still trying to figure out how you do 3 professional mailings to the Kalani area for $4,500, and it still hasn't been reported as to those expenditures and how that happened. So I'm continuing to pursue that. Let's not spend a lot of time on this. Let's get on to bigger issues with the city. We got the Central Issaquah plan and a lot of other things that the city needs to be working on and spending their money on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. I'm Rick Antizana, live at 4601 164th Avenue Southeast, and I've got 2 kids just down the street at Issaquah Middle School, and I'm speaking as a board member about kids. I'm a board member of Friends of Youth, which was founded just down the road, and it was back in 1951 that Friends of Youth became a foster care provider here in King County, and they've been providing services in Issaquah and around the east side since then. One of the distressing and tragic consequences of involvement in the foster care system is that too many of our foster youth, over 35% of all foster youth in the Washington state system, become homeless after exiting the foster care system at age 18. This has frustrated and concerned Friends of Youth and youth advocates for decades. During the last legislative session, the state expanded the ability of youth in foster care to qualify for extended care to age 21 while they pursue education and employment and get ready to launch a stable, successful adulthood. And Friends of Youth, as a primary provider of services to homeless youth on the east side, would far prefer to support these young foster youth as they journey to stability rather than after they have had to live on the streets and at our shelters. We also do homeless services. So we quickly moved to take advantage of the new law, and we'll be breaking ground in April on 10 units of housing for youth in extended foster care, housing them, supporting them, and helping them transition to self-sufficiency and independence, which we obviously should all strive for. On the agenda tonight is a resolution committing the City of Issaquah's support to this project and to foster youth with an award of $9,856 through ARCH. Friends of Youth's 2 new homes, which will be built on the agency's new campus up in Kirkland, will be close to both educational opportunities and employment. These homes will be a place where 10 foster youth in extended care will receive the support, the life skills training, education, and employment that they need to become self-sufficient. And I'm here tonight to urge you, each and every one of you, for your support and approval for this project. We are so grateful for the city's ongoing support of our work and, in advance, for your support of foster youth in extended care and your support of affordable housing in our community through ARCH. We will be hosting a groundbreaking on these new homes on April 17th at noon. That's again up in Kirkland, and hope that you can join us to celebrate this new project for foster youth in our community. Thanks for this forum, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience desiring to speak this evening under audience comments? Anyone else desiring to speak? Third and final call. Anyone else desiring to speak? Seeing no one, audience comments are closed, and we'll move now to committee and regional reports. Councilmember Milligan.
I have none, thank you.
Councilmember Pauley.
No report.
Councilmember Martz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council Land and Shore Committee will meet on Tuesday, March 11th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. The agenda is yet to be finalized, but will likely include Agenda Bill 6761, docket of proposed comprehensive plan amendments, a potential land sale, and the 2014 work plan. Then the next day, the Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee will meet at 7 p.m. in the Renton City Hall. That agenda has not been published yet. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Scher.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening to members of the viewing public. The Council Transportation, Infrastructure, I did it again. Infrastructure Committee will be meeting on Thursday, March 13th at 5:30 p.m. in the Pickering Room of City Hall Northwest. The agenda has not been formally set at this time, but we do anticipate items regarding bus service and potential transit cuts, as well as an update on our food packaging ordinance concerning outreach and site visits. There may be other items added to the agenda agenda in the coming week. Please watch the city website for updates and information on the Infrastructure Committee agenda. That concludes my report.
Councilmember Barber.
Thank you. Services and Safety is scheduled to meet on the 6th of March at 5 p.m. However, due to no business, we will be canceling that meeting. And also, it provides us an opportunity to attend the Arch Workshop, which was also a conflict of time, so it happened to work out quite well for us this month. And I also will be attending Eastside Fire and Rescue on March 13th at 4 p.m., and the fire agenda has not been set yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Goodman.
No report?
Councilmember Winterstein.
Next Monday, March 10th, there will be held here in the council chambers the council work session meeting. There will be at least 3 items on the agenda. We'll be looking at, we expect to get the a copy of the interlocal agreement being worked out between the City of Issaquah and the Sammamish Plateau Water and Sewer District. We're going to launch the council goal-setting process at that meeting as well. So you guys get prepared for that. And also on the agenda will be a discussion among us all about the next steps for the Klahani PAA. The item on the agenda tonight that Councilmember Martz mentioned that's going to be at Land and Shore the day after at Tuesday is a docket of issues about proposed changes to our comprehensive plan. And if anything is ever going to change about Issaquah and its relationship to the PAA, a required step will be us making an adjustment to our comprehensive plan. And so based upon the timing of the vote, the keen interest, the fact that we're on the threshold of making changes to our comprehensive plan, the timing is right for us next Monday, a week from tonight, to have a conversation about possible next steps for the Klahani PAA. And so just want to give everybody a heads up. I think that's another opportunity for members of the public to share their thoughts and wishes with our council.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
There will not be an executive session meeting held this evening. This month, the mayor's breakfast hits the road. This Saturday, March the 8th, from 9 to 10 o'clock, I will be at Cafe Yardrow in the Issaquah Highlands. Please join me to talk about issues you care about. I look forward to seeing you there. This Thursday, we will continue to gather input from the public regarding a location for our new skateboard park. As we discuss where it should be built, we would like to hear from you. Please join us to share your ideas in person about the location of the new skate park. The next public input meeting will be from 6 to 8 p.m. this Thursday, March 6th, at Tibbetts Creek Manor. Issaquah is a great place to live, learn, work, and play, and retire. The retirement planning site Gangs Away named Issaquah to its list of great places to retire in the Pacific Northwest, which was also featured on the Huffington Post. They praised our community for its ability to attract those looking for an urban scene on a human scale. And that concludes the mayor's report for this evening. Moving next to the consent calendar, there has been a request to remove Agenda Bill 6761, the 2014 docket of proposed comprehensive plan amendments to regular business. That will be listed under paragraph 7A, regular business. With that, have the accounts payable and payroll been reviewed?
Yes, they have.
Okay. With that, what is your pleasure on the consent calendar, recognizing that item 6E has been moved to regular business? Councilmember Winterstein?
I move that we adopt the consent calendar as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that carries unanimously. Moving now to regular business, Agenda Bill 6778, Arch 2013 Fall Housing Trust Fund recommendation. I believe we do have Arthur Sullivan, the Arch Program Manager here to introduce the bill, and then since this is coming back from the Services and Safeties Committee, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Barber for her report on the discussion from that committee. Arthur, welcome.
We'll let you go ahead and
Okay.
start.
Well, you heard from two members in the audience tonight from two of the three projects that are in front of you tonight for that we're being recommended for funding through the Arch Trust Fund process. That was a Habitat for Humanity development up in Sammamish and the Friends of Youth development in the up in Kirkland. The third project that's also recommended for funding is a 75-unit senior building for lower-income seniors with also a ground floor health center. Located on land being donated by the city of Redmond through a long-term lease that is located immediately, if you know downtown Redmond, immediately adjacent or across the street from the library in downtown and next to their senior center. And then I'd also mention that the Habitat property is also on a piece of land that was been donated by the city of Sammamish. In your packet, you do have in there several different documents, some that provide a little more detailed information or summary information on the three projects in terms of affordability levels, and also that your funds are being proposed as part of overall funding from cities, but then that is being leveraged by funding from a variety of different funding sources for all three of these developments. And two of them, the Friends of Youth and Habitat, there is a large amount of private fundraising associated with the properties, and then the other one is using some federal and state resources as well to leverage their properties. There also is included a list of conditions for each of the projects that has been developed by the combination of the Citizen Advisory Board and local staffs and the Executive Board members. And I would just sort of highlight some of those conditions, just a couple of them. For the Friends of Youth, for example, that is being proposed as a secured grant, and that prior to, they mentioned doing groundbreaking, our funds would not, that before they start construction on any of the individual homes, the campus like with 4 individual homes, they'd have completed fundraising for that home so that they can make sure they can complete it. We also have that they are adjacent to a single-family neighborhood. They've been great about reaching out to that neighborhood, but we have conditions to continue that outreach throughout the development and then also ongoing as they operate the buildings in the future. For the Habitat project, some of the conditions to sort of highlight there, sort of a similar thing where before they start infrastructure or any of the individual homes, they would have all the fundraising in place prior to starting construction on any of those phases of the development. This is also proposed as a secured grant, which means so long as they remain affordable, then those funds can stay in the property. If they don't comply with the affordability requirements, then we would be able to go back and say we need the funds reimbursed. We've been working with this chapter of Habitat for 20 years, and so far all the programs in the history have worked fine. We also have long-term covenants for that and that property. And then we also have a condition about reaching out to the immediate surrounding communities, especially the business community, so that the homeowners that are being identified first, trying to reach out to the local community for finding the buyers of these homes. Finally, for the Redmond Providence property, that is actually being proposed as a contingent loan, which means that they meet certain affordability levels and also enough money to put in reserves for maintaining the property. That's a property that may actually be able to repay some of the funds over time. So that's one of the conditions. We also have a condition for working locally through senior centers and other community groups to also do their recruiting for residents of that property. And then we also have policies along issues such as making sure they have a management plan for their parking so that there isn't an impact on the surrounding neighborhood that they're managing parking. So there are other conditions as well, but those are just some of the highlights. So stop there.
Arthur, thank you very, very much. This is coming to the council from the Services and Safety Committee. Council Member Barber.
Thank you. At this moment, I'd like to make a motion, please, to authorize the duly appointed administrating agency of Arch pursuant to the amended and restated interlocal agreement for Arch to execute all documents and take all necessary actions to enter into agreements on behalf of the city to Friends of Youth Foster Care for $9,854, Habitat at Sammamish Cottage Demonstration Project for $39,416, and Providence SRI Redmond Senior Apartments for $57,299 at an amount not to exceed $106,659 from Issaquah's portion of the Housing Trust Fund with conditions as recommended by the Arch Executive Board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you like to speak to the motion?
This did come before our February Services and Safety meeting, and it was unanimously supported. We had a couple of questions that were thoroughly answered by Art, and he is here this evening, so if anyone has any further questions in regards to the project, the dollars, how the dollars come to us, Art is here this evening to help us with some of those questions.
Are there questions or discussion? Councilmember Martz.
I see from the front page of this bill that it wasn't budgeted, that this amount wasn't budgeted. Was it or was it not?
These, Art, do you want to speak to it, where these dollars?
Coming from the Arch Trust Fund?
From the trust fund, yes.
So it's not a City of Issaquah budgeted item. We contribute to the trust fund through our normal budgeting process, and our funds are used to leverage other funds for projects. Did I get that right, Arthur?
Yes, and so when we come back to you for specific projects, it's for funds that were set aside in previous budgets. So this is from 2013 and earlier year budgets. So next year, later this year, we'll look at what was ever set aside from 2014 or any remaining balances from previous years. So these funds for this one were all set aside. You might be referring to a dollar amount in the consent item. There was a small amount there, so you might have been referring to that item.
So let me restate my question. This, if enacted, would not have an effect on our ending fund balance?
No.
Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? Councilmember Winterstein and then Councilmember Scher.
Thank you. You know, Arch is a really good example of a region and people of a region coming together to solve a problem that otherwise really there are no good kind of local municipality type solutions. And so the collaboration that exists, the cities of, Beau Arts Village, Bellevue, Bothell, Clyde Hill, Hunts Point, Issaquah, Kenmore, King County itself, Kirkland, Medina, Mercer Island, Newcastle, Redmond, Sammamish, Woodinville, and Yarrow Point, all of us collaborate together and as part of Arch so that these type of projects can come to fruition. And under the Arch leadership and Arthur's leadership over the years, I've seen a lot of good projects, and I'm really glad that I'm proud of our community and this council and past councils of continuing to support Arch, because the result is something that makes a difference in people's lives that otherwise would not be attainable. So I'm going to support this bill and encourage my colleagues on the council to as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Scher.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, you might look at the bill and you might think, well, what does Issaquah get out of this? We're going to be spending a fair amount of money and it's going to all these projects in other cities. But Issaquah gets a lot out of Arch and has for many, many years. And the way that it works with the trust fund recommendations and the funding that comes out of it is there's an allocation that the partners for Arch, the member jurisdictions, put in for these particular projects. And they may not be in your city that particular year or even for a couple years. But we have a fair amount of Arch housing in Issaquah that has been funded not just from our own tax dollars, but from other jurisdictions. So there's a lot of give and take. And we don't just live in a little box in our community. We're a regional partner. We're a member of this coalition to help other folks in the Puget Sound. And so that's what we're getting out of this, is the reciprocal nature of the partnership, that we engage in with Arch, with other cities, with other jurisdictions. And if you go on the Arch website, you can see there are a number of houses in Issaquah, as well as other cities, that are available through Arch. Some have income limits, some that limit has been lifted. And if you're a potential home buyer out there and you're looking for a great community such as ours to call home, and you have income-related issues, that's a great place to start looking. And that's a great place to look if you need that kind of resource, and it's available to you. So I would encourage folks out there who might be watching this and who are interested in looking at a new place to live sometime this year or next, take a look at Arch. Take a look at the houses that are available. They're wonderful places. They're right here in Issaquah, nearby communities. So I wholeheartedly support this agenda bill, and I'm glad to be part of this partnership.
Councilmember Barber.
Just a quick brief. I mean, looking at the three projects we have before us this evening coming from Arch, the first, which is foster care, this is one of those very, for me, difficult times because once somebody hits, especially our young ladies who hit 18, they are then out of foster care and they're basically out on the streets unless they have had other connections that provide them housing. And I know firsthand some young ladies who literally had been handed bus tickets to go someplace, and there was no place to go. So this is extremely important for that continued help, just to help them get on their feet. It's sort of, and the three projects sort of hit a little bit of everything. The next one, you know, at Sammamish Cottages is family setting, which is very important. But then if you take a look at the senior one, there's going to be 8 units in there, which are for the elderly, for the severely disabled. And this is just listening to and reading a little bit more in depth is going to provide some really important living aid for these elderly citizens of ours. So the three projects are marvelous. I couldn't imagine picking out 3 better ones. The dollars are already been paid by the city of Issaquah, and it is as Councilmember Winterstein said, it is the neighboring collective cities that are working towards this. So I thoroughly support this.
Other questions or discussion? Is the council ready to act on the motion? All those in favor of moving to authorize the duly appointed administrating agency of Arch pursuant to the amended and restated interlocal agreement for Arch to execute all documents and take all necessary actions to enter into agreements on behalf of the City of Friends of Youth Care in the amount of $9,854, Habitat at Sammamish Cottage demonstration project at $39,416, and Providence/SRI Redmond Senior Apartments in the amount of $57,299 at an amount not to exceed $106,659 from Issaquah's portion of the Housing Trust Fund with conditions as recommended by the Arch Executive Board, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Arthur, thank you very, very much for your good work and for being here this evening.
Thank you, and I know some of you will be seeing on Thursday night, and that'll give some of you a chance to make our workshop to actually talk to other council members of other Arch cities and sort of share your stories and experiences with each other.
So let us know where the workshop is meeting, Art.
It's actually at a church, St. Luke's Church in Bellevue, and 2 years ago you helped fund that church is the site in the ground floor level of a women's shelter. So so that's another project that was supported a couple years ago.
Thank you.
Okay, moving now to item 7B under regular business, Agenda Bill 6761, 2014 docket of proposed comprehensive plan amendments. That was pulled down to regular business at the request of Council Member Martz. Would you like to speak to that agenda bill at this time?
I would, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it's not my purpose today to propose or debate potential options in regards to what to do about the potential annexation area, which is one element of this bill. But rather, I wanted to take a moment because I think enthusiastic voices have stepped into the void that has been created by this council's very reasonable and reserved response to the vote that came up a few weeks ago. And so I just wanted to take, because it's going to be a week before this council revisits the subject of Klahani, I thought it would be useful to just share a couple of things having to do with the process, because the process has been very, very important to me. And the first is that I think that if anybody claims they know exactly what the voters of Klahani want to do, I think they're fooling themselves. I think if you look at the history, Klahani in '92 was part of a large group of voters on the plateau that said no to incorporation. In '98, the Klahani Homeowners Association said they didn't want to incorporate with Sammamish. In 2005, 67% of the voters in the annexation area said they wanted to be part of Issaquah, but only 47% said they were willing to take on the tax debt that the existing citizens of the city have. And so there then followed a long quiet period when the subject of Klahani PAA, perhaps everyone was tired. People talk about fatigue now. Perhaps there was fatigue then. And so a young city council member, or a relatively new city council member in the summer of 2010 put forward the following goal that the city adopted. And it's really important to hear this language. Update the Klahani annexation study in 2011, that was where that council member was being optimistic, and initiate formal discussions with the city of Sammamish and residents in the Klahani PAA regarding the PAA's future. Based on these discussions and the study results, decide to either proceed with annexation or amend the comprehensive plan and transfer all or part of PAA to Sammamish. Now, as we know, we were deep in the recession, and so it was a hard time to look to do something as thorough as the Nesbitt study. So again, in 2012, we had a 2013 goal of perform Klahani annexation study, allocate the funds, determine direction, and then take council action in 2013. So I hope what people are hearing out of that is not that this council has set about a predetermined course early on. I heard, again, this is the enthusiasm that's out there, I heard someone refer to, and this is someone who wants to be part of the city of Issaquah, they were referring to the effort to annex the PAA. This has not been an effort to annex the PAA. This council has asked the city to find out what the effects would be on the existing citizens of Issaquah and what the effects would be on the residents of the PAA, and the city has done an incredible job. And I think when folks up there saw the open house that the city did, maybe they somehow came away with the impression that this was something the city was trying to do. But really, the city was just doing what we asked them to, which is figure this problem out. This council does not now have, nor has it ever had, a strategic goal to annex Klahani in particular. The future of the city of Issaquah is bright and will be bright whether the residents of Klahani become part of the city or not. But we do have a responsibility to those residents to help them resolve their governance issues. I'm not positive that a majority of the residents of the Klahani PAA at this point want to be part of either city. I think there may be a large number that really feel that they like being unincorporated. I don't know, and nobody knows. I look forward with this council to examining the options in front of us, taking into strong consideration the vote that just occurred, and in figuring out what's best primarily and really exclusively in regards to the residents of the existing city of Issaquah and the residents of the potential PAA. And that's what I'm confident we will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Winterstein.
Thank you. And this bill, again, specifically, Agenda Bill 6761, is the docket of changes to our comprehensive plan. And one thing that we're keenly aware of is that no city, Sammamish, doesn't have an option on any part of the PAA until the city of Issaquah would make a change to our comprehensive plan. And I think people understand that. They say release us, and I think the specific mechanics have to be understood. It has to be done through a change to our comprehensive plan, and that's what this agenda bill is about, the full docket. Another key thing I want people to be aware of is that by state law, a city such as Issaquah can make one and only one amendment to its comprehensive plan in a calendar year. So the Klahani PAA update is one of roughly, I think, 18 that are on this agenda bill. And so our current schedule for, as in this agenda bill, for completing the update is actually, now this is going to sound odd, June of 2015. It's not next month, it's not in 6 months, it's actually June of 2015. So per the current schedule that's in this agenda bill, that the plan, we would perhaps be adopting changes to our comprehensive plan in that time frame. And the reason it goes into June of 2015, because this is an exceptional year. It's a 1-year comprehensive update to the comprehensive plan, and we have a 6 months extension. So, that's a very important issue to kind of keep in mind as we look at this docket of changes, the timing that's involved with the full packet, of which the Klahani PAA is just one of them.
So there's been considerable discussion within the administration today on a number of things, and so I would ask our city attorney to comment on what we do as a part of the update to the comprehensive plan, and what an alternative might be outside of that process.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I would like to comment on, Council President Winterstein is correct that by law a city may only consider amendments to a comprehensive plan once a year. And the process that you're going through and have gone through for the last years is to docket the proposed changes that you want to consider that particular year. And then once the changes are docketed, staff will do the analysis, including the SEEP analysis. But that does not mean necessarily that all amendments have to be passed at the same time. In other words, and we've done this before, where for various reasons the council, once you say, okay, here's all the amendments we want to consider, and staff needs to put a box around it and then do the environmental and other analysis, it is within the council's prerogative to then say, well, we would like to consider these amendments, first, and then those amendments second. So while it hasn't been decided yet, the Klahani PAA, should you decide to make any change to that in our comp plan, would not necessarily have to wait until all amendments were considered. Okay, so that's up to the council to decide. Yeah.
All right, so thank you for that clarification. I will point out that it's mentioned a couple times in the agenda bill. What I was referring to is actually language that's in the agenda bill. So we may want to clarify that.
Well, I think that's the intent, is that all of these would be considered, but the council has the prerogative at some point in the future to decide to take things, to break them apart. And like I said, that's been done before, where I think, for instance, on the, I think it was on the downtown plan, there were amendments to the zoning, so to speak, that were taken, and then amendments to the comp plan that dealt more with the regulations were put off until later. Anyway, just want to make that clarification for you. And as the mayor said, and as Councilmember Winterstein said, for the city to consider a change in the PAA, it first must make a change to your comprehensive plan. And so if you want to consider it, then it's important to include that as a docketed item. That doesn't mean any change has to be made. It just means that you're going to consider whether or not to make that change.
Other questions or comments? So there is a motion. I know that. Let me finish. So there is a proposed motion as a part of the agenda bill to refer this to the Council's Land and Shore Committee for review with a recommendation back to the full council on April the 7th. I did hear during committee reports that this will be a topic at the council work session on March the 10th, the day before the Land and Shore Committee meets. So I guess what I'm looking for is a motion that captures the intent of the council.
Actually, I think because it got pulled down off consent agenda, I probably need to move it. So I would refer Agenda Bill 6761 to the March, just for Land and Shore, or, yeah. Yes, to the March 11th, 2014 Council Land and Shore Committee for review and recommendation, returning to the full council on April 7th, 2014.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there discussion or questions? Councilmember Milligan.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the council and TOLA for bringing this down to regular business. Being a major amendment change year for the council and the city, it's great to give this opportunity for the public to hear about the process and where they may be able to participate. And as I understand, what we're finalizing here is the docket, the list of changes. The considerations of the changes to be made will go long into the future, and there are many opportunities on the committee and council level for the public to participate and speak. And so I'm very glad to have this opportunity to share it with them, the viewing audience, and the audience here in the room. Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? I would just point out that council work sessions are televised, number one, and number two, there's an opportunity for public comment during council work sessions, and it's an opportunity for all council members and the public to participate at the same time and come along together. Other questions or discussion before we act on the motion? So we have before us refer Agenda Bill 6761 to the March 11th, 2014 Council Land and Shore Committee for review and recommendation, returning to the full council on April the 7th, 2014. All those in favor of approving that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, that motion carries unanimously. Moving now to good of the order. Does anyone have anything for good of the order this evening? Councilmember Scher.
Thank you, Mayor. I sent an email to everyone here on the council just to remind you that the Bellevue College Foundation will be having its Become Exceptional annual luncheon on Wednesday, April 30th at Maidenbauer Center at 11:30 a.m. As I'm sure you know, Bellevue College is in the planning stages of bringing a campus to the city of Issaquah in the Highlands with a 20-acre property located just south of Grand Ridge Elementary and just west of Central Park. And you're certainly all invited and welcome to attend this event that I am part of the planning committee for. There's another big celebration that the college will be having in just a couple years, which is the 50th anniversary of Bellevue College. And it's a really big landmark achievement. It's gone from just a small community college, used to have another C in the name when I took classes there, to now being an accredited baccalaureate institution and offering four-year degrees as well. So it's a great event. About 1,000 people usually attend. Former Sammamish Councilman John Curley is expected to be the MC of the event. We'll also be hearing from folks such as Rob McKenna, Representative Habib, and other elected officials. So if you're interested in being there, just let me know, and certainly members of the community are encouraged and welcome to attend as well. Thank you very much.
Anyone else for good of the order? Councilmember Winterside.
I've got 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, and if anybody can identify a worthy, recipient somewhere within the community, I'd gladly deliver them myself, or if you would like, give them to you to. So I'm open to suggestions. you can think about it.
With that, any other comments under good of the order? If not, then we are adjourned at 8:24. Hey, David.
Sure, hold on.